Hey y'all, today we're going to be tying one of the most used knots actually, the Palomar knot. It's become super popular since the advent of fluorocarbon coming on the scene really with the bass industry. So check it out. Now it's pretty easy to tie. First you're just going to take this tag in, bring it right back up the main line, maybe 6, 7, 8 inches. You're going to cinch this little loop part end right down tight because that's what we're actually going to be working with to tie the knot. We're just going to slip that right through the eyelet of the hook. Now this is 50-pound Power Pro that I'm using just for kind of ease of visibility here. And with most of the knots we've tested on the braid, if you're fishing with braid, you want to feed it back through the eyelid at least one time before actually tying it off. But on our test results on this one, we got some different results. Usually doing that one loop through more than doubles the strength and the holding power of the knot. But on this test with the braid, we got way different results on both times that we tested it. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. But going on, you're going to take this loop end, that was now our tag. We're going to bring it back towards the main line, make a loop with it like that. And we're just going to make a basic square knot. Just pass it right through the loop. And that way, we just have that. Now we're going to take our actual loop end here, which is still our tag. We're going to pull it out. We're going to put it over the hook point. So the hook goes through the loop itself and pull it right back up the main line here. Now make sure when you pull this up, you pull it up above the eyelid lip right here. So that way you don't get snagged on that and end up breaking it. And then from there, we're just going to grab the main line and that original tag and pull it on tight. And just make sure again that goes down on the upward side of that. And of course, cinch it. And when you cinch it on your actual line, you're going to want to lick it, of course, get it a little wet there so it doesn't weaken your knot right there when you're using mono or fluorocarbon. Then, of course, clip the tag in and you're good to go. Now, be sure to stay tuned to the strength test because this knot has some different results that we've gotten from any of our other strength tests, especially with the mono and braid. You're going to be real interested. All right, y'all, so I got my double hook set up here with about 1 foot of line between them. Now all 3 of these tests are done on 10-pound tests. So this is monofilament. Next we'll be doing the fluorocarbon, and after that we'll be doing the braid test, which I'm going to do 2 of, remember. So I'm going to hook it up here. Then we're just going to start applying pressure. Half of the pressure weight there. Oh my. That was the lowest one I've tested. That's surprising. That's surprising. I'm gonna have to see where exactly it snapped. That's real surprising. Since that was surprising with the mono, I retied it. I just want to recheck that just to make sure there's no simple mistakes that are ruining our test here. About 8.6 pounds. Man. That's lower than what the actual tensile strength is. And if you look at that, the knot itself actually came undone. All right, y'all. This is the 100% fluorocarbon test. This is a 10-pound Berkeley Vanish. 100% fluorocarbon. Let's zero out the scale again. Get it actually on. Slip it on my little rig. And I'm going to begin applying pressure. 3 pounds, 4, 5 pounds, that's half the tensile strength. Looked like 7 pounds, 6 ounces, which that would be right in line with the other knots we've tested so far, about 75 to 80% of the tensile strength of fluorocarbon. All right, guys, so here's our first braid test. Now this, I want you guys to pay attention if y'all are braid fishermen. This one is put through one time and tied just like the fluoro and the mono. Now pay attention to where this actually slips at. And then on the next one, we're gonna do it where it's been looped through here just one time. And then pay attention to how that holds up the power because that's gonna more than double the actual holding power here. Watch this. 1 pound, 3 pounds. 9 pounds right there. Just before the actual tensile limit. You can see it's all wound up and it actually undid that knot right there. About 90% of the tensile weight. which is actually the best one so far in this whole test. But now, check out what happens when we double it. On this one, it's another test of the braid. The only difference being, this time I looped it through twice there, through that eyelet here. So we can actually see how much of a difference does that make on the old Palomar knot. So I'm gonna start applying pressure. Never mind, I gotta hold this out. Now I'm gonna start applying pressure. Starting to slip. About 8 pounds, 3 ounces it looked like. So it doesn't really look like the knot strength really matters on the Palomar knot as far as looping it through that eyelet or not, which is different because on a lot of these tests, looping it just once through that eyelid more than doubled the actual strength of the knot strength itself. So it's very strange that on this one it doesn't seem to make a difference. I don't know if it's just something with the friction that's not actually catching with this knot or what, but there you have it. Let's go to the actual results and look at the chart. All right, guys, if we go to the actual results here, they get pretty interesting on this test. For the mono, it came undone at an average throughout the test of 7.7 pounds, which is 77% of the tensile strength. Now that is interesting because this is the first knot we've tested that hasn't actually gone past the tensile strength of the line itself. This 10-pound line, the knot slipped through and came down at an average of 7.7 pounds. Whereas if we go down to the braid, that almost is just the opposite. Most of these tests that we've done on the braid so far, once looped through the eyelid, it slips at like 30% of the tensile strength. You got to slip it through the eyelid at least 2 or 3 times to really build up that strength. But this one, it seems that it cinches that loop around the hook the last time, cinches the knot down really tight. And I think that helps with the braid, whereas mono being a little stiffer, that loop just kind of keeps it open, especially being tied with the looped up line like that, keeps it a little open so it slips further and easier. With the floro, is basically right in line with what we've been seeing with the fluorocarbon, 74% of the actual tensile strength, which is basically the average of what we've done with all the knots. But the braid wrapped twice is where things got real interesting. This one slipped at less poundage than it being wrapped once. And I think what that is that being looped through, again, having the double knot or the double line looped through the eyelid a couple times like that, I think it just allows it to get a little bit of slippage going, a little bit of open space in there where it can slip. Whereas just being wrapped one time, it cinches down around itself real tight, it seems, and the friction actually holds. So there you go, Palomar knot.